This is a book review of Frank McCourt's Teacher Man. And yes, this is a sticker with my name tag on it because I lose books often. Now, who is Frank McCourt? Well, he is the author of the Pulitzer-winning Angela's Ashes and its sequel, Tis. Teacher Man is supposed to be a sequel towards Angela's Ashes and technically also Tis. Also, these events happen in the events of Tis. Frank McCourt is a high school and also one-time college teacher, and he has been teaching for over decades. During his teaching career, he has amassed so many stories that he was able to turn them into this. He talks about his childhood in Angela's Ashes. He talks about his first arrival and first time in the United States of America after he left at the age of 5. Or was it 6? Whatever age he was young at the time. And now he talks about his stories during teaching time. One thing I actually just have to mention is that when this book starts, right at the cover, there's this picture of him on the newspaper of his old school. It's called America's Teacher of the Year, and Frank McCourt won the award. And it literally says, Mr. Frank McCourt, a dedicated and serious creative writing teacher at Stuyvesant High School, is Teacher of the Year, 1976. Now you might be asking, what is Stuyvesant High School? Well, back then, this was considered to be the college of high schools. Anyone who gets into Stuyvesant High School was determined and was told that they can be good, open doors all the way to top colleges in the university and the country as well too. But if you failed, well, that was your own fault. Now, in the book itself, it kind of exaggerates a lot. McCourt is, change colors. McCourt is over here, and he's basically doing whatever he wants. When he goes ahead and starts off his teaching career, there is a lot about him that just doesn't seem fit. First thing, of course, we finally get to talk about his teacher's license. And prior to all this, we learn about his time trying to go ahead and read some books. He reads a bunch of books, including Moby Dick and sings, and then he talks about his time in college. Basically, he never went to high school. He never has a high school diploma. But somehow, he graduated college. And he had a major in English because he read so many books, he knew a lot of authors. His maths was pretty low, actually. Then again, he never really studied it that well, so no surprise there. And so he began his teaching career. And firstly, of course, he had to go ahead and do some substitutions. He became substitute teachers, and he became a substitute teacher, and he learned the ways of the classroom. And since he now learned the ways of the classroom, he started learning things as well too. There was a lot of things, and he had to learn 4 lessons a day. He calculated each one to be 20, and so that would be about every day around 80 to 90 units of energy. Well, he only had 1 unit of energy. It's 1 versus 80 to 90, but this one has way more power, way bigger sword than the rest. But everyone else has more smaller swords, while one has 1 big sword. Will many small swords beat 1 big sword? Other teachers have so big swords that they just smash all the other small swords out. But other teachers just go ahead and let the small swords attack them, not even knowing where to strike first. McCourt decided not even to fight. He did try to fight, but he tried to manipulate the swords so that instead of big sword fighting little swords, he turns little swords against each other. There was no need for the big sword. And when they finally realized their own goal and started attacking, he just let them attack. He let them think about it and say, alright, why am I not attacking? He asked so many questions that were ambiguous, but all the students wanted to know the answers to the questions right before the bell rang. They don't like ambiguity. They don't want to think about, hey, so what is this? Sure, it's great for the teacher to ask these questions, but we'd like to know why he thought about it. Your answer before the end of class. And of course, teacher man McCourt goes ahead and learns all this as well too. After years in the field of this teaching career, you go ahead and find instincts. Where some students like to slouch, some students are actually dedicated, while others are just, man, I'm just here, but I can pass with exceeding. There is, of course, a lot to work on this. McCourt in this book goes ahead and describes all his experiences as teachers, which includes a sonata of people playing violins or whatever they play, while other people went ahead and recited recipes that they found in their old homes, as well as writing defense notes to the funny little German guy with a funny little mustache. You all know who I'm talking about. And eventually, he turned all these experiences of 30 years of teaching and turned it all into one book that he could turn into a bestseller. He never thought it would turn into a bestseller. In fact, his first book was Angela's Ashes. Angela's Ashes was a book about his childhood and his miserable childhood, miserable Irish childhood. It was probably because of that he had these kind of defects as well too. He he created this book in like 5 days a week, 5 periods per day. He turned this into a great story. It talks about his times trying to fight students 5 days a week, 5 times a day. So 25 times per week. But instead of forcing the adolescent students to just listen to him, no question asked, he went to go ahead and strive for their communication. He really wanted to go ahead and get the respect of these unruly, hormonally changed and indifferent adolescents because he kind of understands them. He was exactly the same as them when he was young. In the end, did he get it? Yes, and it's kind of sad that I found out Frank McCourt died a few years ago. This book itself is mainly about a dedication towards teachers of everywhere. It's also a message to teachers to go ahead, instead of just using the brute force learning method, to go ahead and talk about things. Try to get the adolescents to want to learn. You need a love of learning to be able to start learning. If you just memorize things, well, you won't be able to go ahead and learn them as well too. All of this wastes time, and every second is precious. And since every second is precious, not much can be used on certain things as well too. Even important tasks have a limited time in the world. This exhilarating adventure goes ahead and tells us more about our lives. It tells us more about how we do our lives. Just to make sure, Frank McCourt is a U.S. citizen, not an Irish citizen. His mom and dad are Irish citizens. But the point is, McCourt, storytelling is the source of salvation. He went ahead and read Moby Dick to just go ahead and get out of his depression. He was able to go ahead and write his own stories, imagine his own worlds. Just go ahead and go with the flow to just do things that other people do. Teacher Man is a great sequel, and it's a worthy sequel of Tis, which is a worthy sequel of Angela's Ashes. Teacher Man goes ahead and recounts the time of Frank McCourt during his time in Tis, during his days as a young adult. And since then, he has changed dramatically into probably a more mature and probably a more understanding person. And that's the great thing. This book goes ahead and shows that change is possible no matter where you are. And so go read Teacher Man because it's hilarious, as well as the fact that it also tells us about teachers and so far. If you're a teacher, read this book because you will get entertainment as well as some teaching advice as well too. And so that is the end of Frank McCourt's Teacher Man. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you guys soon. And so until next time, now, peace. Bye bye.